Listen on your phone or computer anytime, anywhere in the world. Just download the app for free. How do you download? If you have an Android phone or tablet, go to Google Play Store. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to Apple App Store. It's that simple. We have 3 streaming sites. Just type in TuneIn Radio or Radio Garden or Streema. That's STREEMA. Once the app is downloaded, type in and search for DZRJ. And now you can choose and enjoy DZRJ 810 AM and RJFM 100.3 anytime and anywhere. Hey, it's free.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music.
Hello there, RJ here. Bistro RJ is open on Tuesdays for Bravo Executive Lounge and Thursdays for Let's Groove. If you want to watch the TV show live, there's no entrance fee. Just go to the bistro by 7:30 p.m. And of course, aside from Tuesday and Thursdays, we are always open on a Friday for dancing. Entrance is only 600 pesos.
Thank God it's
Put on your dancing shoes. Get out of your house and enjoy life. The band starts at 8 p.m. and I'm on stage at 8:30 to make you dance for 1 full hour.
Pretty woman.
And just to have a little fun, the prettiest woman and another best dressed woman will win free gift certificates from the Asian Breast Center in Makati City for a thermolytics breast exam, a state-of-the-art procedure that's painless, non-touch, and radiation-free, worth 1,200 pesos, the latest innovation in breast cancer screening.
So see you this Friday at Dusitani Hotel, Makati. Make your reservations right now. Text or call 0906-221-1524. I repeat, 0906-221-1524. Or go to facebook.com/RJ Bistro. Or you can just walk in on Friday nights. Guaranteed you will be happily dancing and singing along.
Thank God it's
studies. That may have influenced me. So in fourth year, I did a spiritual discernment that maybe architecture was for me. And although I really had a vocation to be a missionary priest. Yeah. And then I entered UST, BS Architecture. Then I was a first scholar of the University of the Philippines, UNDP, UP, Department of Public Works and Transportation. So I had to work for government projects for at least 2 years. It was in the Metro Plan Manila that I was team leader, senior planner, and project officer for Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan, where the rulers of Dubai got to know about me. And they researched me. They even spoke to professors in UST. How was I? So I was invited and they hired. I did not apply for the job. And we brought our family there. It was the first Southeast Asian Philippine architect in Dubai, and the first Filipino family, and our second daughter, 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰𝗁, first Filipino born there. And just last March, I was invited to give a presentation talk in the Dubai Expo. So from 1977 to 2022.
And up till today. And how do you feel, I called you na secretary, Sir. How do you feel about the Filipinos' response to really participating in urban planning? Because we feel that it's absolutely necessary for civic society to participate. But at the moment, I don't know how enlightened society is yet till now. If you travel, which you do, and like me, I travel even now, let's say locally, I still see the need for Filipinos to understand how they can take part in development. And even in their own areas, including noise pollution, for example, which is a very important factor to take into consideration. Most Filipinos still don't understand how that affects your environment, right? And this is even in the provinces or in local areas as well. So how do you see the Filipinos really jumping into this bandwagon of how we are educating everyone to participate in urban planning?
Yeah, I think we should put it in the curriculum. Like in France, I think even grade school, they teach architecture, introduction, and even town planning in France, and appreciation of the arts, culture, and so on. And many other cities in the world, like not very well, Curitiba, one of the most environment-friendly cities in the world. 1976, Curitiba, Brazil, they already introduced the bus rapid transit. 1975, and we also proposed it in Metro Plan Manila. And urban planning affects everyone. And urban planning is the difference between architecture and urban planning.
Yes, I believe that.
Urban planning is like the platform where urban planning is the place-making action, the land uses, residential, commercial, mixed-use development, infrastructure, social services like healthcare and education. Yeah. And we should have cities that integrate, that are smarter, sustainable, resilient, livable, walkable, bikeable, with mass transit, safer, better lighted, happy, healthy.
Yeah.
Hopefully with mixed in work, shop, dine, learn.
Yes. I agree. But I think I'm not sure if I'm losing you in our connectivity, Sir June. But I also want to ask.
Please.
Yeah.
But the infrastructure is in a catch-up situation. That's why I said in the interview with Martin,
yeah,
open spaces are being sold. And open spaces and parks are the lungs of the city. And the roads and waterways are the arteries of the city. They're all congested. And the major activity centers, like central business districts, are the hearts of the city. So I said, our cities need a heart transplant, a lung transfer, and a heart bypass. So we need to have that.
Yeah. And you actually said you have to look at it like a human body, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like human body. Yeah, it should be not just beautiful, but efficient city. Yeah, and your topic is so relevant because the past century was a century of nations, maybe because of the United Nations. This century is a century of cities. And Metro Manila is the fastest growing metropolis in the world. And it's the top 20 largest metropolitan areas in the whole world. And so even in my education, like at USC Architecture 1970, I already proposed an urban renewal for City of Manila.
Yeah.
Then at UP, my Master's in Environmental Planning, I wrote in one of my term papers, development is not worthy of a name unless spread evenly like butter and a piece of bread. Today, they call that inclusive growth, inclusionary zoning. Our zoning in Metro Manila and our cities is exclusionary zoning. And we got that from the Spaniards. The town plaza concept, which is nice. Yes. The town plaza, the church, and the municipio. What was not so nice was the intramurus inside the walls for the illustrators and the principalia. Extramurus outside the walls for the peasants, the Indios, and the sunlights. If you look at our cities today, I'm also guilty of it. The gated communities inside the cities. Because I used to live in a village in Makati and also Alabang. But that's not the way to go. It should be inclusive. It's developed.
Yes. Yeah. It's nice that you bring up the plazas because I often talk about that also with a couple of people in terms of what I'm also trying to do in the provinces, right? Because in Spain, as you mentioned, for example, everything happens in the plaza. And it is for everybody because you're talking about inclusive. It's inclusive, right? Yeah. So you don't look at social stratification. Everybody goes there to commune, to eat, right? To see family and friends, and then they go home, right? Yeah. It's something that we want to do here as well.
Yeah. The town planning, urban planning in Spain is inclusive. You have the Plaza Mayor, and around the Plaza Mayor are mixed-use development and higher density housing. In our country, which we got 1571, the town plaza is the wealthier people and the poorer people are away from town plaza. What's good about it, the town plaza and the church, every Sunday, everyone gets together. But the 6 days of the week, exclusionary zoning. And unfortunately, that has affected that has influenced our urban development.
Right. And let's say for one, in Quezon City, it's something that, because I'm from Quezon City and you were very much involved with the Quezon City Memorial. And to date, everybody, since I work in local government, and I'm really happy when people text me to tell me that they are able to utilize it, for their daily lives, enjoyment, right? And also participate in trying to educate other people in taking good care of what they have in their cities, right? Yeah. And I think it's something we should be multiplying.
Yeah, in fact, not just the Quezon Memorial, we did also the La Mesa Dam Ecology Park.
Yes, another one.
Then the Quezon Memorial and what they call it, the Nino Aquino Park, what's the name now?
Parks and Wildlife.
Yeah, Parks and Wildlife. We did also a master plan for that. And my proposal, which was not followed mostly, is public parks should not have any fence. It welcomes everybody. Security, you can put CCTV cameras. Mm-hmm. But public parks are not fenced. Or if they are only low fences, there's a transparent and so on. part of the uglification of our cities is the solid wall. And
Yeah.
it's the solid wall. It's really, by our studies in Harvard Graduate School of Design, solid walls doesn't deter criminality. You can throw a grenade, no witnesses. You can commit criminality inside, no witnesses. Look what happened to Marawi.
Yes.
People did not know there were armories and shabu factories because of the solid walls. Then the solid walls, our cities become hotter, warmer because the flow of air is being blocked. And when there are more eyes in the public realm, criminals are more scared because they work with witnesses. Criminals are more scared of windows because behind the windows, potential witness. They are not scared of walls. They can commit criminality in walls. So we have to disabuse our minds that high walls, it's not true anymore.
Yes. Right. And just like abroad, right? Your parks are not walled.
Of course, yeah.
They're not walled.
These are social interaction areas.
Yeah.
These are lungs of the city and so on. And it's really urban planning is, we talk about the land use. The land use is a place for everything. We talk about housing, a place to call home. We talk about moving the city, transportation, city beautiful, urban design, and the great outdoors, the natural resources, open spaces, infrastructure and public services, something for everyone, like healthcare, wellness, education. And education, again, it's not spread evenly like butter, piece of bread.
Yeah.
Many of us, I went to the exclusive schools.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it should equalize. Yeah.
I agree. But what happens, sir? What happens, like, in my experience, for example, in the provinces where the town folk, they're not aware of their own resources or environment, right? In the sense that they don't know how to go about protecting it or preserving it or developing it, for that fact.
Yeah, and we try to walk the talk. Like, I gave up $1 million in architect's fee when our client were able to get a tree cutting permit, and we were commissioned to design a 6-star hotel in Subic. And I was instructed to destroy 366 70-year-old trees, but we could have preserved the trees. So I returned a $1 million architect's fee, and I got a 50 million libel case. Oh. Because to me, a 50-year-old tree, the replacement value is 9 million pesos. Because of the oxygen it gave for 50 years, the rainwater harvested, the fertilizer it gave planet Earth, the beauty and cooling effect gave the environment. Yeah. So that's the replacement value. Yeah. So 70-year-old trees times just much more than my $1 million until friends in the media, including CNN Atlanta, BBC London, and Al Jazeera, and the media here, our friends, the foreign one, they came to the Philippines to meet the crazy architect who would give up $1 million to save the trees. I was told it's the first time in the world somebody did that. Yeah. And after that, I got several projects, foreign investors. They say there's somebody who sticks to his principles.
Yeah, you always have anyway. But it's a hard fleet for you. What do you mean naman, Sir June, when you say that we have to really build up? Like in the metropolis, for example, we really need to keep on building up because we're highly urbanized city.
Yes. In fact, I'm a fellow, I think the only South Asian fellow elevated as fellow in the Council for Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, headquartered in Chicago. We are the ones certifying the tallest buildings in the world. And vertical urbanism with tall buildings are more environment friendly because we were told also, maybe some people may not like my comment now, which again, I learned American Planning Association, Harvard Graduate School Design, that if you have a large single family home, a mansion in the middle of the city, you have a higher environmental footprint because you're allocating to yourself very prime urban resources, converting more families to live closer to their places of work, encouraging more urban sprawl, being closer to the forest and to the farms. So if you have a big mansion, you go to the suburbs, not in the middle of the city. Not many friends, clients, and relatives like this comment from me.
No, but that's how it is actually even abroad, right? In high urbanized cities, they're all going up, building up. You want to build a mansion, you go to the suburbs.
Yeah, go to the suburbs. Like Hong Kong is 71% open space because it's a vertical city. Singapore, 45% open space because they are vertical urban. They told with it. Dubai, the tallest building in the world, and it's becoming a polycentric vertical city. Polycentric, many centers, and so on. And urban planning, transportation is part of it also. There are 20 kinds of urban transport. The first mode is walkable cities. Second mode is bicycle. The third priority mode is mass transit, public transit. Then you have, the cars will be the last recourse, but we don't have efficient public transit. And also water transport, airport transport, aerial cables. I have been proposing a long time ago, aerial cables from Antipolo Mountains, our major activity center. Water transports, Laguna Lake, Pasig River, Manila Bay. It's doable. And light rail transit, we first proposed that in Metropolitan Manila, where I was team leader, the fund that we should have completed 8 years proposed in 1971. Then the American Corps of Engineers proposed 10 regional roads and 6 circumferential roads in my administration, doing like circumferential road number 6 and so on. And the 10 regional roads, 1 regional road missing is regional road number 4. That's the Pasig River corridor.
Right.
So to me, transportation system and road network is as strong as the weakest link. And the east-west transportation corridor towards Rizal and Quezon is not just the weakest link, it's the missing link.
Missing link. I agree. Yes. Yeah. You're talking Quezon Province, right?
Pardon me?
You're talking Quezon Province, sir?
Yeah. So we think that we really need, because our infrastructure has been biased towards the south, towards the north.
Yeah.
And again, towards the east have been forgotten. Like some of my employees living in Rizal, to be in our office in Makati by 9 o'clock, they had to leave their homes by. Most of our road network is going northward and southward, the forgotten east. In my term paper in Harvard, 2003, Manila Bay region, Pacific Coast, megalopolis. Yeah. The megalopolis are metropolitan areas, the metropolis are cities. And I've been advocating for that since I was a student.
Yeah.
More balanced development. It was a bit low priority also, but it's happening now, northward expansion because of Clark and the biggest airport in Bulacan, which we are helping master plan it to be a green urbanism, green architecture.
Right. Sir, I want to ask also, because in this bio that I received the other day, you often speak about connectivity, mobility, right? And the interpretation of people on connectivity and mobility is a little bit confusing for them. They can't seem to grasp that, maybe because we have been soiled too long in the busyness of the metropolis that we can't absorb this. But maybe you can also explain more connectivity and mobility for people, because we hear a lot about infrastructure. We get that now, right? But what
Right.
about mobility and connectivity linked to infrastructure?
Yeah. Mobility is simply be able to conveniently move around. Accessibility, access. Let's get, for example, Makati Central Business District. The local government allowed the increase in density times 4 in 1990. But the accessibility capacity and mobility and connectivity was not increased 4 times.
Right.
And employees of Makati CBD or for Bonifacio or Ortigas, the employees are priced out of the housing stock. That's why they spend 3, 4, 5 hours away from their families because of traffic. And I call them sometimes they are like OFWs in Metro Manila. Imagine if you waste 5 hours a day in traffic, that's 40 years of your economic life, and so on. So connectivity is really connecting cities and communities. That's why infrastructure is very much needed. And accessibility, if you increase the density, like Makati CBD, increase the traffic generation, parking generation by 4 times, but the accessibility, even the open spaces have been increases. The parks and open spaces and trees increase. In Metro Manila, if you check the 1989 comprehensive zoning for Metro Manila, many of the open spaces have disappeared. And many of the proposed infrastructure to increase accessibility were not implemented. They have been sold, developed before in the good example of urban planning. But now it's an urban laboratory on how not to do it. It's a corridor, one of the worst in the world. JICA study, we were wasting before the pandemic 4 billion pesos a day in traffic. So before, even real estate developers, location. Now it should be connectivity, accessibility, and mobility. These are resources. We have good natural resources, beautiful tourist destinations, but they don't have the connectivity, the accessibility, the mobility. Some of the plans we're doing for tourist destination areas, we even designed them as wheelchair ready, with boardwalks, handicap ready, and so on. Because the tourists with deeper pockets are the senior citizens, not the backpackers.
Right.
This adventure tourism, backpackers don't spend as much. Sometimes they just pollute the place, and they don't spend as, unlike seniors, even those in wheelchairs. Yeah.
Yes. The baby boomers. The baby boomers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so important. They're the ones with the money right now and are willing to spend. So, and they're seniors. They're seniors at this point.
Yeah. The money and the time.
And the time. That's right.
Yeah.
So, with a growing population, I was very curious for some time about what you've been trying to espouse to everybody on building 100 more cities that is needed, right, in the Philippines. Can you explain that more, and how are we going to do it, and why we need to do it?
We're doing about 10 of them right now. I cannot announce yet which they are because there might be speculation, and the land value should go up. And why 100 new cities? By 2050, we'll have about 147 to 150 million population. And most of our towns and cities were still established with the Spaniards. Not much new cities in the Philippine Republic, 1946. Town, cities, and communities are along the shorelines. And with sea level rise, climate change, most of them will be flooded plus storm surge and tsunamis. So the towns were doing maybe since we were private government, San Vicente, Palawan, we made different zoning, big restrictions. Set back the buildings by 50 meters from the shoreline, and in Boracay, we could not even implement 20 meters. So, by 50 meters, and vertical easement, no livable spaces below 4 meters, because of, in case of a storm surge, 4 meters high flooding.
Yeah.
And we have to, this century is also, my professor about us, also a rest century.
Yes.
Rethink, reimagine, re-architecture, redesign, re-engineer, redevelop, renew, hopefully urban renaissance. And it's so timely with this pandemic, we can unlearn our mistakes, get the best practices in the world, get inspiration, the best practices in the world, and unlearn the mistakes of Metro Manila. Unfortunately, some cities in the provinces, they want it to look like
Manila.
like Metro Manila.
Like,
Not to do
like
it.
Manila, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, sir, when I say that they don't understand their environment and they're pushing for something that may not actually work in their own areas.
Yeah. Like the top 10 worst polluting rivers in the world, 7 of them is in the Philippines. Number 1 is Pasig River.
Yes.
Number 1, worst polluter in the world. Why? One of them is, we don't have, I've been reporting it the longest time, the esplanades, river walks, and underneath are sewage treatment plant and sewer interceptor. So all the sewage go to Pasig River is a septic tank.
Yeah.
And 7 of them, and fortunately we have a organization like San Miguel Corporation spending 2 billion pesos to dredge Pasig River. And Tulyuhan River, also they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're dredging it. And Tulyuhan River is number 4 worst polluter in the world. So you have Pasig River, Tulyuhan River, and we overtook the rivers of China and India.
Imagine that.
In
Yes. And it's nice that, yeah.
pollution. Somebody said,
Hello.
yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead, sir. I'm still here also. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we have to do that. And in fact, if I may share,
Yes.
Dubai, when I reported to work in Dubai, April 1977, the ruler of Dubai expected from us, we're about 20 senior staffers, architects, engineers, planners from 14 countries. I was the youngest and the only Southeast Asian. And the ruler of Dubai gave us simple expectations. Design Dubai as if there's no oil, because they will be running out of oil. Create a garden city out of the desert. They were
Nice.
importing gardens from Pakistan, irrigation flowers from one city in the Middle East, in North Africa, in 15 years. Then number 4, make Dubai join the first world
Yeah.
in 15 years. Be a first world in 15 years.
Yeah.
Number 5, which I like very much, and copy. That's what you said. My first exposure to benchmarking. So I went to cities in the world that became first world in less than 15 years. And if there's time, I can explain the cities I went to, like San Francisco. Why did it
Yes.
started? San Francisco, gold. So gold rush, then construction boom con, trading post, commercial center, educational center, aerospace center. So it evolved from one resource to the other. Hong Kong, how did it started? Opium. Kaya may pag-asa pa tayo. So, so Hong Kong started with opium. Then the political refugees of communist China, they went to Hong Kong, breaking with them manufacturing skills, garment making skills. So from opium to manufacturing, then trading center, commercial center, regional center, and so on. Then Singapore, they were kicked out of the Federation of Malaysia because they had short family names. So they were lucky to have a Lee Kuan Yew, honor graduate of Cambridge. I think he copied the strategy of Hong Kong press more landscaping, and he made a law in Singapore. For every tree you plant was tax deductible for the first 5 years. After 5 years, that tree can take care of itself. Zurich and Geneva, the refugees of the world wars. The Germans, they went to Zurich. The French, they went to Geneva. The Italians went to the rest of Switzerland. What did they bring? The refugees? Chocolate making and watchmaking. So Zurich, Geneva started with chocolate making, watchmaking, bank center, center, and so on. So I went back to conversation in Dubai. It can be done. Dubai can be first world in 15 years. And yeah, because the rulers of Dubai, they have strong political will. I think our president has strong political will.
Yeah,
They have visionary leadership. Visionary leadership. They have good appreciation of good urban planning, good appreciation of good design, architecture, engineering, and good governance, good management. And I believe if we do all of this, the Philippines can be in the top 20 economies of the world before 2050.
Wow. Really? That's kind of close. And so interesting. If we just...
In fact, I just came from the Dubai World Expo. I believe we can host the World Expo in 2040 and the Olympics in 2046. I will only be 90. Yeah.
Kaya pa, sir.
Kaya pa.
Yeah.
And you know the advantages of our country, strategic location. Yeah. If you rotate the map of the world, our country is in the middle. It's no wonder we were the Asia-Pacific hub of Spanish Europe for more than 300 years. 50 years the Americans, 2 years the British, 4 years the Japanese. Our strategic location.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder every superpower country will always be interested in our beautiful islands. And we have a demographic soft spot. Our average age of population is 25. Other countries are aging. And the Philippines is 400 times the size of Singapore, 350 times the size of Hong Kong, 8 times Taiwan, 3 times South Korea. And it can be done. But I think we really have to work together as a country. And unfortunately, think positive. I had many colleagues also, and I had the opportunity to change my passport, but I never wanted to change my passport because our country is so blessed.
Yes.
We are number 1 in the world in marine biodiversity. Number 1 in the world. Number 1 now in sailors, seamen, and number 1 in call centers. Number 2, geothermal energy. Number 2 now, BPOs. I think we have the 3rd or 5th longest coastline in the world, longer than mainland USA. Many countries lack waterfront, like Dubai. They have to do the Palm Islands to increase more waterfront development. We're number 4 in the world in gold reserves. Number 4 in shipbuilding, thanks to the Japanese and the Koreans. Number 5 in all other mineral resources. Number 12 in human resources. And the Philippines extracts.
So we can really do it.
The preferred employees of employers all over the world. And negative stars in our country. As my fellow seminarian before, Father Dear Orbus said in his homily, so many stars.
Right. But if we really wanted to, given all that, we can really do it.
Yeah, we can be first world in 15 years.
That's quite a short time, Sir Jerome. Right?
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah. 1977, Dubai then was probably 100 years behind the Philippines in urban development. Today, they're probably 50 years ahead of us.
Imagine.
Like Dubai, Manila International Airport was much modern, much better than Dubai Airport, April 1977. Now they have the busiest airport in the world, number 1 gateway cities in the world, number 1 tourism city in the world this year, overtaking London, Paris, New York, the usual tourist destination.
Imagine that. And the one thing that struck me in the points that you mentioned earlier is really the urban planning awareness. That takes a lot of education, Sir June, right? Which is
Urban
how are you
planning.
now going to put this inside a curriculum, if I may ask?
Yeah. And since I'm sorry to say this, uh, many of our urban planning decisions are done by politicians and private developers. Yeah. In Dubai, they have a high respect for architects, urban planners, and engineers. And, they invite the best in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's something we should be doing. You know, you mentioned
It can be done.
it can be done. And you mentioned to me yesterday when we were talking that Harvard, MIT already, you know, it's already built in Dubai, right? You can go to
Yeah, they have.
Harvard in
Of course.
Dubai.
In Dubai. And even like in Abu Dhabi, they have the Louvre Museum of Paris. We don't have to go to Paris anymore to look at the Louvre.
The Louvre.
And in Dubai, they have knowledge villages. They invite international Ivy League universities. Maybe what can be done here is we partner them.
Yes. Yes.
Even in Harvard, when I was there after 9/11, they have what they call, I forget the name, but inclusive. 20% of enrollees should be women and minorities. In my class, we're only 19 from 4 continents. I was the only Asian. Our class violated that 20%. There were no women and no minorities.
Okay.
But it's now a requirement. Inclusive, 20%.
That's interesting.
Women and minorities.
Why would that be? Because of what the
Could be
country.
done by the exclusive culture.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. I
Contributions would be
just
different.
my observation. Yeah. And I think all this happened after 9/11. I observed.
Oh,
Because
really?
I've been in Harvard since 1997, giving lecture. I saw the big difference after 9/11. More inclusive, less snobbish. Yeah.
Nice.
After 9/11. Yeah.
So how do we now do this? Like we live in an archipelago. We have different cultures because part of urban planning is also realizing and appreciating our culture. Considering, yeah. Go ahead, Sir June.
In our selection of projects, we have what we call integral ecology. 5, people first for social equity. So every project we do look at the beneficiaries.
Right.
Yeah, poverty alleviation and job creation. Then we can talk about environment and planet Earth. But number 1 should be people, beneficiaries. Then number 3, we get about prosperity, profit, and economic goals without forgetting culture, history, and heritage, and humanities,
Yes.
and interfaith spirituality. Used to me that if architect is up there, I'm just his instrument for his greater glory and improve.
That's right. That's right, Sir June.
The lives of people, create more opportunities for us. The thing we do is pro Deo Patria et Terra, for God, country, and planet Earth.
Nice. And
We don't accept all projects, or sometimes we walk away projects that violate this integral ecology.
yes, that's great. Right? In other words, if you're like a June Palafox coming from, let's say, Metro Manila, and you're going to go into the province of, let's say, you're going to go into Abra, right? You're going to have to collaborate, you know, your skill plus what they can contribute based on their own traditions as well.
In fact, we had public consultations we were fortunately we also won the tourism master plan for the Cordilleras and included Abra, and we had public consultation including the indigenous people, so they participated in the tourism master plan for the Cordilleras. And tourism is one of the highest, maybe can be more participative. Abra was included there. And again, development is not worthy of the name unless spread evenly like butter and a piece of bread. My term paper in when I was 23 years old.
Yeah. Oh, sir, if you're in a master plan, in creating a master plan, you dialogue with people. Usually, what is the concern? Because we really need to beef up our humanities. Hopefully, we can do this do this more, no, in the administrations to come, right? We need to beef that up. But their concerns usually, sir, what are they? What are the fears, for example?
Yeah. One really is jobs and poverty, and same housing, agriculture. We have, when we plant, we call it from ridge to reef, from the mountain ridges, the highlands, the midlands, the lowlands, and the coastline. This should be integrated. And it should be comprehensive in area, comprehensive in time, comprehensive in all disciplines and the different land uses. Yeah. There are clients abroad. We've done work in 40 countries the past 50 years. The client abroad instructed me to design the university, a hospital, and 3 schools to last 40 generations. 40 generations is 1,000 years. And this is, who instructed me? The founder, Dharma Master Nun of 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰 Buddhist organization after the big earthquake in Kathmandu, Nepal. Wow. And, 11 schools in Bam, Iran. There was a big earthquake in Bam, Iran, I think 2003. And again, we were appointed to do 11 public schools. And we did green architecture, wind towers, natural ventilation. And again, the same founder, Dharma Master 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗰, based in Taiwan, instructed me to design those 11 schools to withstand earthquake intensity 10 for an earthquake that never happened. Yeah. And I got an award 2006 in New York as an ambassador of peace and goodwill because of their schools. Because it was a period of there were threats around Iran. Three cultures were involved. The Buddhists from Taiwan, for the Muslim children of Iran, and a Christian Catholic Filipino architect.
Yeah, nice.
So I was present of the United Nations Interreligious Conference in New York. I was given an award, Ambassador of Peace and Goodwill, because of that project. Not our big projects, those projects for humanity.
Yes, absolutely, right? Yeah. It's a factor that, it's very crucial, and we have to really incorporate it. Because I noticed, like, when I go to the provinces, for example, and this is, sir, you're saying we need to build 100 more cities, right? And in order for us to do that, we need to know the people, right? We need to know who they are and why they are that way. But sometimes what happens is when other people coming from the metropolis have the same initiative, it becomes their task to just really drop into the communities what they believe will work from where they're coming from. So the communities basically get turned off because you didn't incorporate their own ways.
Yeah, we always do at least 3 alternative master plans, and there's public consultation, and implementation is a different thing. So we put on record, this is what we did. And I tell my colleagues at Palafox that every line we draw, if we do a good job, let's think of the beneficiaries. If we do a lousy job, let's think of the sufferers. So we even do a beneficiary sufferer analysis for the good of the greatest number. And many of our work, including philanthropic work. And in fact, I was pleasantly surprised again. Forbes Asia magazine cited me as one of the 48 heroes in philanthropy because of my philanthropic architecture. I was surprised because I was together with my big clients, Henry C. Sr. and John Gokongwei. At the same time, I was cited as one of the 48 heroes of philanthropy. They probably investigated our work, especially after disasters. All over the world, we donate 70% of our architect's fee. And now we are doing permanent homes in Palo Leyte for the survivors of Yolanda, being funded again by 𝗘𝗱𝘂𝗂𝗰, Buddhist organization of Taiwan, with many Filipino Buddhist 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗂𝗰 volunteers and members. Permanent homes. We did before the transient homes, temporary homes.
Right.
Now permanent homes and donations from all over the world through 𝗘𝗱𝗂𝗂𝗃 organization.
Right. So how do you see this happening? Like, where do we start, Sir June? If it's okay for me to ask. Maybe it's like top secret, but maybe you can fill us in on some things that, the people at least can have an idea on. Where do we start? Like, in building 100 more cities, do we start in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao? Where do we start?
Yeah. Just maybe from the top of my head, one-third, one-third, one-third. Mindanao is a little bit bigger than United Arab Emirates, the 7 Emirates, and a little bit smaller than South Korea. So maybe Mindanao, maybe the inspiring model could be United Arab Emirates and South Korea, and then the rest. And we did the Metro Urban Master Plan with the Mindanao Development Authority, and we're fortunate we won also the competition for that. And Metro Davao is 10 times the size of Metro Manila, 9 times the size of Singapore, and 6 times the size of Hong Kong. We also did Pampanga Megalopolis, and again, Megalopolis are the metropolitan areas, and it's still development. Agropolis, the farm and the city. Aerotropolis, Clark Airport, Airport Village City. Aquapolis, Candaba Swamps and the water. Then Ecolopolis, ecology and the city. So Pampanga can accommodate 4 metropolitan areas. And currently we're doing Siargao before the Odette, the tourism master.
Yes.
And Siargao is a little bit smaller, almost the size, but a little bit smaller than Singapore. In fact, Singapore, you can fit inside Laguna Lake, 71,000 hectares. Laguna Lake is about 80 to 90,000 hectares, depending when it gets flooded, it's larger, and so on. So, and the coastal areas, we may have to, as I said, after Ondoy, the lake shores of Laguna Lake and Marikina Valley, relocate or elevate.
Yeah.
Elevate the city.
Exactly.
So again, the 70 cities and municipalities that will be affected by sea level rise because of climate change.
That's
and
right.
maybe we have more than 400 rivers in the country, 180 of them are dead. So they have to be dredged and look at the flood line when they overflow. Our educated guess is rivers will overflow on the average of 4 meters high.
Right. So in building 100 more cities, we're looking at livable, resilient, walkable cities with better connectivity, right, to provide better mobility for everyone, because many things should be accessible from your workplace to your home. You know naman, sir, di ba, a lot of people, you can work in Makati, but you actually live in Cavite, right? Every day, you're like, going to work, and sometimes I wonder, how do people do this? How do they live?
In fact, we have employees from Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, even Pampanga. And it's more expensive during pandemic because we give them free transportation. We fetch them.
Yeah.
So even productivity is more expensive now, the production cost, because of the free transport for our employees.
Right. And how do you think learning more about this, becoming an individual that is aware of urban planning, right? How do you think geography, the subject itself, because for me, I think we Filipinos are poor in geography. I included. Okay. Sometimes, sir, when I speak to other foreign delegates, they know more about certain things, and I'm like, oh, I just learned that from you about my own country, right? So that is why I say that we're so poor in geography. How do you think, and where? Because if, let's say, we bring this to the Department of Education and make a proposal that this should be part of their curriculum, do you think it should fall in a separate subject called geography and not just araling panlipunan na where they put everything there in one blow? That's how I see it, at least.
Yes, certainly. Especially now that we have Filipinos in more countries than members of the United Nations. They should know world geography and Philippine geography as well. You know where I learned surveying?
Where?
ROTC.
Oh, see?
ROTC. Yeah, I was a cadet officer, so I learned there and also taught surveying to our cadets. Yeah.
Right.
ROTC. Maybe it's a segue a bit, but they should bring back ROTC, not for military, but for the environmental cadets.
Right.
Instead of marching there, you send them to the boondocks, to the mountains, to plant more trees. Plant, not just build.
Right. I agree. So last words, Sir June, for all our listeners. We have a lot of teachers listening also, and I want them to get ideas, because I always tell teachers, when you listen to people, you get ideas, and you can even put it in a math subject, okay? So this is what we're trying to teach them. Last words for especially our teachers.
Yeah. Thank you, moms and sirs, for the opportunity to share. It's really, our country is so blessed. We're given by the chief architect up there, the urban chief planner there, the chief engineer up there, so many graces and blessings. Other countries, they don't have our natural resources. So architecture, urban planning, engineering are very important for it, even just introductory. I used to be invited to give lectures and graduating classes of fourth year or senior high school about architecture, urban planning as a career choice. And before we allow visits by students, high school students, to our offices, we have offices in Makati, Cebu, and in Davao. And I'm now celebrating my 50 years as architect, 48 years as urban planner. 40 countries have benefited from my God-given talents, education, experience, and to maybe Magpia, you might want to host to all the graduating students. I'll talk about architecture, urban planning.
You know what? Let's do that, Sir June. That's a really good idea.
It's part of my celebrating my 50 years, giving back. And you know what's the most expensive real estate in the world?
What?
Yes, the cemetery. So much wisdom
Serious?
there. The dearly departed did not share their wisdom before they departed the earth.
Yeah.
So
which is what I was going to say. Thank you for sharing your wisdom to us today.
Yeah, I just turned 72 years old last March 16, the 501st anniversary of our Christian faith.
Yes. Happy birthday, Sir June.
Thank you. So
We still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and maybe not just the teachers. We should also educate. I'm sorry for saying this. We should also educate decision makers with impact on the urban development, our cities, towns, and cities. Maybe you can host a urban planning.
I will do that. That's a really good idea. I will do that. And
for the 1,600 mayors, 81 governors.
Wow.
And I think 10% of them are very good. I was asked. The 90%, they can be better. So maybe we can help re-educate them.
Right.
Even developers. Yeah. Because our integral ecology of people, planet, profit, sometimes it's all profit. Never mind the people, never mind planet, never mind cultural history and heritage, never mind interfaith spirituality.
Right. And that matters. That matters, Sir June. Yes, I will do that. That's a very good idea. I'll coordinate with you on that, sir. And for now, thank you again for sharing your wisdom to us. Till the next time, Sir June, I keep on calling you Sec June, but maybe this is Dilang Angel or something. I really don't know, but thank you, Sir June, for being on Education Radio, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you, sir. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This has been Pia Morato for Education Radio. Hasta luego, everyone.
The views and comments